this week I wanted to do a list of the top 10 things that you just simply don't see anymore. So there's a little bit of nostalgia about it. You'll get exactly what I'm talking about when I start to roll these out a bit. But they're things that we took for granted and that we saw everywhere a few years ago, but that nowadays, good luck seeing any of these things I'm about to rattle off. Guys, in at number 10, we've got, do you remember the lost kid announcements in shopping centres?
Yeah.
You couldn't go for longer than 5 minutes without hearing like, young Bryce Fiddlebottom is looking for his parents, Frank and Marie. Come to the Siggy counter to collect your young Bryce. You know, like, it was that kind of a thing. But is it kids aren't going missing any day nowadays, or do parents not care as much?
No,
Which
we're helicopter parents. We don't let the kids out of our sights anymore.
Right, but you guys surely went missing at the shopping centre when you were kids? Like, I'd go missing all the time, right?
Yes, I did it, and I went up to the lady and said that my name was David Buffhead Robinson because that's what my family called me when I was a kid. So they actually put that over the announcement and said, we've got David Buffhead Robinson here. Can someone come and get him? My mum ran. That's not his name. That's not his name. He just thinks
we're rebranding the show. It's the Ben, Rob and Buffhead. Ben, Rob and Buffhead.
Oh, very good. Very good.
Sorry,
guys, in at number 9, something that we just simply don't see anymore, hitchhikers.
Yeah.
Well, Ivan Milat took care of that. Yeah.
But the thing that I've never understood either is who's most afraid? Is it the hitchhiker or the hitch? Does that make sense?
Good point.
We've seen too many serial killer stories of picking up hitchhikers, and we've seen too many stories of the person in the car being their serial killer. True crime's too big now. It's put the fear of God into everyone.
Yeah, but you know, it kind of sucks that the victim was hitchhiking in all of this. Once a noble form of transport is now gone. Rest in peace. So sad, so sad. Guys, number 8, the creepy people with those metal detectors at the beach.
Oh, yeah.
And they were everywhere when we were kids, and you'd run up to them and you'd be like, what have you found? And they'd be like, I've been here for 2 hours and I found 10 cents. And as a kid, you'd be like, wow. Yeah, so I was kind of sad to see that, because it was like a very specific type of person that would be doing the beach combing kind of thing. Maybe the world's better off without those people. Guys, in at number 7 of things that we simply don't see anymore, birds stuck inside shopping centres. I swear, every time you'd go to a Westfield, there'd be just birds everywhere. They just made themselves indoors, and as humans, we just accepted that birds had evolved to a stage where they like to be indoors like us.
I just quickly say, I know what happened to those birds, and that is that my partner got a job a couple of years ago, and his very job was to get rid of the birds from supermarkets because they're rodents, they're pests with wings. So he worked for a company. Well, one day he was really stressed about these birds, and he asked me for advice, which no one should ever do. And I was like, hire a hitman, find any bloke, give him a slab of beer and a rifle, and just tell him to go down to Woolies and shoot him. And no one ever took any advice from me.
But wouldn't the customers be a bit afraid of that? Like, if you're buying your lactose-free milk and a guy with a rifle is shooting at pigeons right next to you.
Yeah. Sorry, I got your kid instead of the bird. Sorry.
Number 6 of things that you just don't see anymore, women walking around with curlers in their hair.
Oh, yes.
Do you remember that was an acceptable thing, that women would just cruise around the local shopping centre with the curlers, and you just acted like everything was all sweet? It wasn't an issue.
The last person I ever saw in curlers was Denise Drysdale. She still does that.
True.
She walks around. You can vouch for that, can't you, Ben? She still loves a curler.
Oh, I love that.
Makes it sound like she was That makes it sound like Denise wore more at our place when we were growing up. I tell you what, she wasn't wearing much. So I'll just give you that for free.
Guys, we're at the halfway mark of the things that you just don't see anymore. In at number 5, pickpockets. Now, as a kid, I thought that pickpockets were going to be a really big issue in my life. Like, everyone kept on telling you, like, oh, be careful, don't put your wallet in your back pocket, that's where the pickpockets will get. So I grew up with this fear that I was going to get pickpocketed, and I don't think I've literally ever met anyone in my life that's ever actually been pickpocketed. Have you?
No, me neither.
Back in 2000, when Amanda and I were in Edinburgh, we were walking down, and I saw someone eyeing us to pick our pocket, and I just moved Amanda to the other side, and he looked at me like, you bastard. And that was the only time I've spotted a pickpocket.
In at number 4, things that we don't see anymore, suburb weirdos. And every single suburb had its own weirdo. Like, we used to, I grew up in Brisbane, and we used to have this suburb weirdo. He was probably in his mid-40s. He lived somewhere, right? But we would buy porn, and we'd hide it, like, in the mangroves under the Indooroopilly Bridge. And he would then go down and steal our porn magazines that we had purchased, and we were always planning on like catching up with him and like
but hang on, is that weird or just smart? You guys are buying them, he's using them.
Oh no, but you could tell that he was a bit odd. Like, he'd always throw mangoes at us and things like that, and he would always hang out at McDonald's and clog their toilets. Yeah, but he was just a suburb weirdo.
Yeah, no,
like, for us,
always,
it wasn't a big
I was
issue.
our suburbs weirdo.
You still are.
In at number 3 of the things that you just don't see anymore, and that's kids sleeping under tables. Like, you'd go to a restaurant or whatever, and there'd probably be half a dozen kids just sleeping on the floor, and that's just the way things work, is the parents were writing themselves off, and that's just what happens.
I lived at the pub because I was always asleep under the table at the pub. Growing up in Bathurst, my parents were always at the Oxford Tavern in William Street, and we were always sleeping under the table.
And it was kind of nice as a kid because you'd overhear fun little conversations, and you're kind of, I don't know, it was a nice environment to be in. You felt kind of safe, apart from having been kicked in the head by accident every now and then. Outside of that, it's a good thing. Should bring that back. Guys, number 2 of the things that we don't see anymore, those Magic Happens bumper stickers. What happened to them? They were everywhere. Every car
they
had
disappeared.
Magic Happens on it. What's going on? Magic doesn't happen anymore? Have we lost the magic?
No,
We've
maybe
lost the magic.
no, but people don't believe in magic anymore.
No.
Yeah, but I remember driving around and you'd see the bumper sticker and you'd go, yeah, I guess magic really does happen. And it had
Bruno, when you would look at that and think that, were you drunk or anything? Like, were you? Because it just feels like, that's right. Magic does happen, doesn't it? Yeah. Magic does.
All right, Bruno, bring it home.
And guys, number 1 of the things that aren't around anymore, prank phone calls. And I swear those things used to happen all the time. You'd pick up your landline and someone would be messing with you. Someone would be like, oh, I can see you naked right now, haha, and they'd hang up. Or
I never did that prank phone call.
No,
that's creepy.
It's the Ben, Rob and Robbo, Ben, Rob and Robbo Show. Ben, Rob and Robbo Show.